running full speed, but the markets are faster. Quasar Markets Live brings the world's top financial minds to you. Everything you need to know in one place. Learn from elite educators and gain a competitive edge, leveling the playing field for you. Join the conversation. Quasar Markets Live.
Good morning, Quasar Markets Live. Good morning, Big Beat. How you doing today?
I'm good, man. Listen, big, bad, beautiful bill became the most disgusting bill ever in less than a week. What the heck? It's so funny. A lot of people look at the economy with rosy pictured eyes. During the campaign, President Trump said, or at that time, private citizen Trump said, I can fix everything and just let me be president. And yesterday he said, man, this is tough. This is hard being the president. This is not easy. Dealing with China is not easy at all. And calling names now of the Treasury governor now, Fed governor. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, Mr. President, it is hard to be the president. I've been there. I know what it's like. I know what it's like being in the Oval Office. The world is on your back. Oh, and yeah, so there it is.
Yeah, I mean, markets were moving up in the pre-market earlier. ADP numbers came out. That isn't helping anything there. 37,000 jobs in the May, the lowest in more than 2 years. And then you back it up with the president came right out, going right after Powell. I mean, we've agreed with that, though, that he is too late. As we're about to see the ECB do their 8th cut here.
Yeah, listen, we see that, and I had this chat yesterday with another one, right? That hey. Why is the ECB leading us? It's usually the United States leading them. And I don't know. I'll tell you, there's some thoughts in my head going on in regards to the ECB that they don't want the same political issues that we have here, right? You saw how already with the Poland, with the conservative winning big over there, the right wing, and ECB, she is definitely a lefter. She's definitely from France. She was head of France's Treasury Secretary. So I think that they see politically that they're concerned. Again, another election swipe to the left for the Democrats here in the United States. Another election. Democrats are winning pretty big without saying anything. So, Powell says he's not political, but let me tell you, I think this is political. I do. I think I'm starting to think.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting that one this morning. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I can't argue that it does seem to have some. We do know he's very tight with the Elizabeth Warren crew. Fed Powell for sure. There were murmurs of that.
You, as Fed chair, have to say I'm not political. That you are. So there's your answer.
Yeah. I think it's tough to be in DC and not be political. Very few have done a good job of that. So we'll see how that plays out. I'm more concerned with jobs, with what that's going to do to consumer sentiment here. In a quick way. What are you thinking there, Steve?
When you look at the overall picture right now, I think Powell is saying that things are getting a little bit better, right? He's saying that things are getting back to what he said he wanted to see, right? He wanted to see inflation coming down. And I think we had Bubba on the other day, and he wants to see unemployment numbers coming down too, right? So these numbers are working in their favor. He can say, see, look what I said. But Trump is saying not fast enough, right? And so because of that, there's kind of a disconnect a little bit. And That's what I'm seeing when I'm saying is political, right? It's not on my terms, it's on my terms. I am Fed Chair Powell. You are President Trump. I'm President Trump. You are Fed Chair Powell. Let's stay in our lanes and figure this out. Guess who hurts in all of this? Mainstream.
Yeah, absolutely.
We hurt.
You know, and I guess going back to what you said, my question would be, or what seems to be playing out to me is that there were so many tweaks and levers that need to fall into the right place for this great plan that the President Trump supposedly had, this 4D chess that he was playing. And
I mean, let's be honest, Howard, you're totally right. There was no plan. I called this out 6 months ago. I called it out during the election. There is no plan. I looked for the plan. There's no plan on the internet. There was no plan out in public. There's no PDFs. There's nothing. It was no plan. We know that. Okay. And now the emperor has no clothes. There was no plan. Okay. It's okay if there's no plan. Just say there's no plan. I mean, it's not the easy way to say it, but there was no plan. And now we're seeing that there was no plan and they're winging it, which again, I'm not against winging it as president. Sometimes it's okay. You have advisors and the world changes very quickly. Best laid plans sometimes don't always work. So yeah. I'm not saying it's the best way to go, but don't tell me there's a plan in place and then not have a plan in place, right? Are you telling me the politician's lying to me? I'm shocked, right? But when you talk about the plan in place is, okay, well, we're going to raise tariffs, and the tariff moves have been so erratic. It's not we're moving up tariffs by 5% or 2%. It's we're moving up tariffs by 52% to 100%. Like at one point, China was 140%. How can you plan a government? How can you plan?
How can you plan a business? If you're a business, how do you plan? You know,
don't. Right.
Yeah, right. And that's the issue is, it's one day one thing is, the sky is up and the earth is below us, and the next day it's the opposite and we're upside down again. It does make it tough. Tweet analysis. It does get wearing on you after a while.
You'll be happy to know, Howard, we built the machine here at Quasar Markets that filters that out, and also we have an AI now that it pulls that out as well through tweets, and we have that now. So if you're in Quasar Markets, just sign up, pay the $15. My God, it's cheaper than ChatGPT and OpenAI and all the things you can buy out there. $15. You can see what the feeling is around the world too as well.
Tick is positive again. We're pretty flat on the Qs and the SPY. Yeah. For me, I'm more looking at the fact, although gold just picked up again, gold had been down, silver was down, Bitcoin was down. So we were seeing a little risk on before these numbers came out and the tweets started this morning. Looks like it's changing a little bit. Looks like now we're seeing a little bit of a flight into gold again here.
I think it's quiet. We're going into the summer. Right. This is now June, and this is that time when things should slow down. I asked Scaramucci, I asked Mooch in our interview about it. And, I said, look, this is a normal time for the markets to slow down. Do you expect that? And he kind of was like, no, not really. Volatility is still a little high right now. And also that we're moving to the next level of all of this, which is what do we do now? Right. What is the next catalyst to make this all move? Are we still going to live day to day by tweet by tweet? And right now we are. And, you saw the ADP numbers coming out right this morning, unemployment rising by 37,000. We estimate even bigger than 110,000. So there's still some jobs coming out, but not enough to hold off with the bigger picture. Right. So with these data points coming out as fast as they are now, and with tweets still coming, no, it's still going to be one of those summers. We still don't have all of those things that we want to see, quote, giving us clarity with Russia, Ukraine, with China, with God, I can keep on going, right? Yeah, there's too much going on right now to have low volatility.
Yeah, and down around 17. Ron pointed out CoreWeave taken off again. Yeah, it's a rocket ship. I mean, it has just been a rocket ship. It launched on the NASDAQ at about $41 back in March, and now trading at 158.39 here today, a $72 billion market cap for them. Yeah, I mean, packaged software, they are data center, former crypto mining company that sort of changed, and wow, they've done well at it. It's a tough one to get into for me. I can't.
I'd probably be shorting it soon. It's way out of its league right now. They haven't actually done it yet. I understand what they're doing, and I agree with it. Oh man, Trump administration now says that there is no viable path forward for California high-speed rail project. Warns it will rescind $4 billion in federal funding. I do not like that. I think was going to be a great for there we go. Pull it up there for you guys. That's crazy because it was going to be Vegas to LA. There we go. Hopefully that pulls it up there for you. Not liking that too much. Well,
we know that's a direct shot right at Mr. Musk.
That's correct. It is, yeah.
From the president. That's his. Okay, you said my bill's no good. Well, I'll cut $4 billion. I won't fund your high-speed rail.
Yeah,
that's the problem we have right now. That is not how this should work.
Tantrums are happening again, and it's going to affect it. Look, I like Brightline as well, and I agree with the president on this one. That I do like private funding for the private rail. But Amtrak is a good example of that, right? It moves millions and millions of people around the Northeast corridor. It gives people in the West a chance to see some of the better, without having to drive. Older people can see the world again. Yeah, this is really bad. $4 billion, give me a break, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's an interesting one. Steve, Wells Fargo looks like they're finally out of the doghouse. What do you think?
Out of the doghouse is a hard question to say. It's been a long time for Wells Fargo, WFC. Yeah. I have my thoughts on Wells Fargo is well done. They've had a long path at it, but they've also done a lot of bad things to get there, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, they always talk about crypto and this or that, but they were doing some pretty bad things, just signing people up for accounts that they didn't ask for.
I was one of them,
charging fees. Yeah, but as I pointed out to you this morning, my bigger takeaway is most of that C-suite has changed over, so I'm going to give them a chance. I think it's time for them to take them out of the doghouse and allow them to compete with JP Morgan and Bank of America and the others.
Yeah. Wells Fargo has pivoted. For those of you, I want to give you a little history lesson. Wachovia was their main, was a big, on the East Coast of the United States. And I had a Wachovia account from the very get-go. That's how long I've been at Wells Fargo. And Wells Fargo merging and buying out Wachovia, they had a very long string of buyouts and mergers and acquisitions in the banking industry. And I think a lot of that really affected Wells Fargo, having to tell all these banks, you've got to become a Wells Fargo bank, get that Stagecoach up and running in that red colors and yellow colors that their colors are, but you didn't need to change anything on the inside, just the aesthetics. And then the culture changed, and then the CEO changed, and then things changed, and then it was very aggressiveness going in, trying to get more accounts. That happened very quickly, and well, they got above their skis and did criminal things, and of course that hurt them. They backed off the criminal things. They've cut back on their staffs, very few of them. Banking in general will be changed. I want to see Wells Fargo get aggressive, but not get aggressive against the customers, but for the customers, right? Saying we're not going to just it's called slamming, by the way, if you don't know, with the open up accounts that you didn't ask for. That's called slamming. Another good example that would be like AT&T slamming customers and opening up accounts. Yeah. So when you look at that fast forward now, okay, Wells Fargo, you've now got the reins off your neck a little bit. The foot's off your neck. Okay, here's what you should do. Increase the crypto exposure, right? Have an opportunity. That's growing. You got a president that likes the world of crypto. Great. You now got that. Okay. add ETFs, add the ability to do those things. I think that will change the philosophy, digital banking at a bank that's beyond digital
They've
banking.
been pretty negative into the world of digital assets, and they were one of the companies that were definitely debanking the crypto industry over the last administration, and definitely one of the ones that didn't let you deposit into crypto exchanges and all that stuff. So I think that that would be interesting to see. It'd be smart for them, but it'd be interesting to see there. We'll say, Steve, sticking in the world of crypto, Circle's IPO is said to be over 25 times oversubscribed. This is going to be a monster because if you look at Tether, Circle moving into the world of regulation and all that, they create the stablecoin USDC. And what we've seen is they have the infrastructure set up. I'm excited about this one. I'm excited about Circle's IPO.
Yeah, I am too. And on day 90, I'll be very excited to short them because that's when the internals can, the most locked up value can come out in the 90s. Not all of it, but most of it can come off. And you're going to see massive selling in this stock. They're 25 times oversubscribed. They're not worth that much. Sorry, Circle. I'm glad you're doing very well. You're going to get a lot of money, but it's not going to work. So, yeah.
Okay, we'll see. I'll be on the other side of that trade from you. I will definitely. They just print money with no risk. You mint your USDC, they put it in short-term US treasuries, and they collect that 3-4%, and they do it on billions of dollars a year.
Yeah,
so I would definitely be on the other side of that one. Steve, Hewlett-Packard, nice little move up 7% here after exceeding expectations. And what surprised me is AI data center. AI data center is what they talked about.
I mean, AI is dead. Remember, that's what we were told, right? That the world of AI is dead. There's nothing going to happen in the world of AI. Hardware is dead. What else is dead? I mean, I feel like Dracula can walking around. Look, it's very simple. Data, and data needs hardware. You can't just stick it on a piece of paper and write it all down. It's got to go somewhere. That data has to go somewhere, and you have to find these big back ends. And IBM is a good example of that. HPE is a good example of that. And when you look at it from forward revenue, they know what they're going to build, and you saw it. That oh my goodness, we're going into a full scale confrontation now. Watch my right hand, my left hand does something else, right?
Yeah, as they get ready to bomb the Ukraine.
Yes, exactly. Look, data is data. It's all there is to it. Data centers. CoreWeave is a good example of that, right? They're building data centers. I will say that this much. Can CoreWeave keep up with the Hewlett Packard? Can CoreWeave keep up with an IBM that already has massive data centers and a huge in this case, it's like everybody else starting at the starting gate, and IBM and the big teams, big boys, are starting about 5 feet from the end, right? From the tape. I don't know how that CoreWeave's going to catch up to these guys. We'll see. I mean, I don't think
I'll play the devil's advocate to that. The way is because they already have them. In other words, CoreWeave, okay. That's where you haven't looked into their stuff very closely, obviously. They have huge amounts of data centers already. They were Bitcoin mining companies.
They were Bitcoin mining companies,
all
right?
Of this area. They are the guys that mastered how to get energy the cheapest, how to utilize it, where to go, develop those relationships across international borders, and are ready. And IBM and these others missed this boat, maybe. And that's what we're seeing.
I'm not going to disagree with you on that, but I will say that. But I have to ask the question: do they have the actual machines to be able to do that?
If the partnership, CoreWeave has the partnership with NVIDIA, yes,
correct. They do. But
they do. They're going to be the key partner to build out NVIDIA's new vision of data centers. It isn't IBM. It isn't Hewlett Packard. It's with CoreWeave. That's what I'm saying. Is the biggest guy. We just talked about NVIDIA is now again the largest public company in the world, largest provider of what's going to be AI chips, and they have partnered with CoreWeave. That's who they chose to be their partner to build them out. I'm going to go with that partnership.
But okay, great. And I don't disagree with you. I agree with you on this. But let me look at the market cap of CoreWeave. $72.23 billion. Bullshit. Okay, I'm just gonna call it out right out straight. That's not worth that amount of money. It's just not. Is it worth that the money in 20 years? Well, yes, of course. Yes, maybe. But their partnerships with Nvidia, I just don't think so. They're gonna have to figure something out. Look, the volume, average volume 30 days is 22.37 million. The volume over now lately has been 53.92 billion. It's just FOMO right now. I don't agree with this run. This run is out of control.
Oh yeah, I think CoreWeave. Like I said, I'm not chasing CoreWeave. But as for who is, what companies or why is their price up where it's at, and as to IBM in the AI data center, no, CoreWeave is ahead of them. They have it built. They know how to build it, and they're partnering with NVIDIA to do it. Is it worth? But
when you look at the workloads, you got it's the software side of the workload, right? And I get it that they're going with NVIDIA to help them with that, right? But there are several companies that do this. MongoDB does it too as well, and I think they do very well with Sphere. In fact, we use Sphere here too as well. One of the several we use. We're not on our AI, by the way. If you don't know, we don't have one AI. We got several AIs with our system. Anybody just using one AI to power their stuff, that's you're I don't know what you're doing, playing games. But when you look at efficiency, that's what CoreWeave is supposed to be, right? Efficiency, right? How they maneuver the AI data. Most people don't understand with AI, when you're pulling data sets out to put data sets back in, you have to restructure them. And that's what CoreWeave restructures and pushes it out to the right direction. And I get that. They're not the only company out there. They're just the hot one on Wall Street Bets right now. And the FOMO is hitting right now. And I get that there's some good news out there with a partnership with NVIDIA. But if I partner with NVIDIA, does that mean my stock goes to $5,000 billion? No.
Probably. Probably, yes.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yes. Quite honestly, do we want to look at all the companies that NVIDIA has mooned in the last year just because of mention of the partnerships?
That's true. And has any
doesn't mean it's worth it. I'm with you, but I mean, but does it move the market? I mean, yeah, it does.
Panned out at. Name me a company that's panned out. The partnership with NVIDIA. What name a company that is panned out for the company that partnered with NVIDIA?
Oh, NVIDIA, well, I mean, they just started. I mean, so Carrier, applied ADI, CoreWeave being number one. So we just looked at $77 billion. Let's go. Constellation Energy, CEG.
Hold on. Let's go with that. Let's go with ADI. Let's start with ADI first. ADI, Analog Devices. All right. So they made their run. All right. Where are they at now? They're coming back down. All right. I'm going to pull up a daily chart on ADI. After their partnership was announced, I believe it was back in February. Is that correct? I believe when they're big. They're
probably,
big.
Yeah.
Their stock went from 320. I can't even see it. 230 down to 180. Huge, big pullback on CEG. That's my point. The FOMO hit it because of NVIDIA, but that does not mean that it's going to keep running. And I'm telling you the same thing. I think CoreWeave will get hit by. Well, first of all, profit taking. That should be first on everybody's list, right? Especially if you're in it. And second of all, there's a lot of people that are just buying the zero DTEs. That we know that. I mean,
and on ADI, no, you actually gave the actual false news there. The news there was it happened in beginning of April when it was trading at 160, and it moved it to 219 where it's at today.
Okay, well, no,
that's a good move. That's a good move. Analog Devices.
So the data that came out on it was on what day?
In beginning of April.
Do you have the exact date? That's good. That's good. I love this stuff. All right, let's pull it up. So, ADI announces.
It would be, when did NVIDIA announce its partnerships?
April 4th, right? Is that right? No,
yeah.
No. So in May of 23, that was their $12 billion buyback, and that's why they got their. That's why the moved up in May.
May 30th, 2025.
May 30th. Okay, so what has happened on ADI since May 30th? Because I would say that a lot of this had to do with trade tensions, right? I mean, I would say that, yeah. Yeah, because most of this move is not based on NVIDIA news. It was based on their buyback, right? That makes sense to me. And I would say the same thing. And I think Ron's asking about CEG here with their big pullback on CEG. Same thing, right? I just think that all of these companies that are pushing up based on NVIDIA's news probably sell after the fact. But we can keep it up. All right, let's do that. Let's do it right now. CRWV. Where are we right now? I don't know that I don't feel comfortable right now shorting it now, but I definitely want to. Well, maybe I do feel comfortable. Did you go quiet there, Howard?
No, I'm trying to find the dates for you for this stuff. I actually have it pulled up their partnerships over the last 2 years.
And I'm looking at CoreWeave now. All right, I'm going to pull up. Let's see what I do, folks. I mean, I see there's quite a few of you out there today. I'm looking to short this sucker today. And I can, okay, so my banks don't allow me to short this because there's not enough shorts out there. There's not enough out there to short yet. That tells you everything. This it's going to come back down. I can go find, okay, so this is a good time to learn. You can do what called locates. That means that I can go locate shares to short on this stock. So, and I'll probably go looking for that now. And look at that, like the pullback now, people are shorting. Look at that, selling coming in now, 153, 154, 153.51. I told you, people guys are listening to me, I guess. This stock was definitely one. So there are some locates out there to sell. Yeah. I maybe I should have done that harder on the show here.
You can short it using options. They have an option chain.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking when it comes out. Yeah,
that gives it to you. We're open, so it's out.
Look at that.
It's open. You can go short right now, buddy.
You sure can. The market is open. 155.31. Let me see if I can get these here. Let's see if I can get some of these. I cannot do it yet.
See, gapped up to the high of the day, 156.85. This be your chance.
Yeah, I'm not there yet. Not there yet. Not there.
There it goes.
Yet.
It's coming down. 153.
There it is. Yeah, damn it. I missed
coming
it.
Down.
It was pretty obvious to me what
there
was happening.
Comes. Well, let's see. It's fighting 153.50. Got to make a move. Hasn't closed the gap yet. Question is, will it even close the gap to yesterday's huge run?
Yeah, see that.
What did you in yesterday's open? Thursday, yesterday. Nah, it mooned right at open yesterday. Curious if there was a pullback on the cash open yesterday. There wasn't. Cash open on last Thursday gave it a pullback before it started to make this run. It had been at 130, pulled back down to 105. If it does a halfback, you'd be looking at 140.
Yeah.
It's battling out, though. It's holding up so far. It should break to the downside, but
It
I
should.
don't know. I'm not playing with that one. Sure. Like you said, there's not many vehicles to short it now. All the pressure is already against it. Little pullback on UiPath here this morning, back below 13. I've been as high as like 13.10.
Yeah, Path was. For those of you who don't know, I did sell my Path. I was going to keep it last week, but I did not. I was going to keep it for a while, and I did not. So it was too much. It was too much of a run for me.
Q's up about 20 basis points here. Same with the SPY. Same with the Dow. So broad market rut up 20 basis points. You don't usually see that. All four indices right about the same. So far, cool. We're still holding that 153 level. It hasn't broken down yet.
I haven't done anything just yet, so I'm just kind of keep my eye on it.
CrowdStrike now down 8.29% here this morning. Continuing, that's seeing a sell-off here this morning. Continued slide. Like we said, Constellation Energy, which took the big jump up yesterday, has retraced all of that and then some. Dollar Tree getting hit. Dollar General, such great earnings reports, and said how tariffs were not going to affect them. Dollar Tree said the opposite, now down almost 9% on the morning. Bitcoin mining companies are bouncing back. Mara had been down significantly this morning, also now up about a 0.5 percentage point. Pony AI continues to move to the downside. Also here, 1328. That one crashed right below. Continues to move to the downside. Wells Fargo now up 3%, again on the news of lessening or getting out of the doghouse. Hewlett Packard, nice move up 5.14% here this morning. Steve, another one is SharpLink, was the biggest gainer in the pre-market this morning, up about 17.24%. I think we mentioned it a little bit yesterday. That is a company that is going to invest in Ethereum as a treasury, very similar to what MicroStrategy does with Bitcoin. Joseph Lubin was one of the founders of Ethereum, the money behind it, and the guy that runs Consensus. Nice move up.
CoreWeave was really trying here. And
yeah, cool. He's trying to move to the upside.
It is.
Man. I'm with you that it said this is an overvalued company, but it's
going long because I felt like, my thesis is still the same. I'm not shorted yet. My thesis is still the same. FOMO is still in it. I said this. FOMO is still in the damn thing, and it's okay.
Yeah, it's what I mean. It's when they're, because at some point these shorts might have to cover. I don't know. I mean, most of them are institutions, so maybe they have the wherewithal. Because, like you said, you can't just short it off your regular Robinhood app, so to speak. But it doesn't want to slow down. 156 seems to be the hurdle right now. Mag 7 outside of Tesla, which is down about a 0.5 percentage point, everything to the upside today. NVIDIA back at 142. Apple trying to branch up above 204. So a couple of downgrades, or Needham at least downgrading Apple overnight, Steve. Microsoft up about a 0.25 percentage point here this morning. Google with the biggest recovery, up about 1.06. Meta, man, doesn't stop. 676 on Meta.
Yeah, I mean, look, I like what Meta's doing. Meta is working very diligently on their glasses, and I think that's going to be the world. I've said this years ago, as you know. That's what I worked on with this company, right? That we want to make sure that everything works in our wearables, and here we are, right? So I do like that a lot.
Yeah, nice move up. If we look at the S&P Utilities are down.
And advanced decline line's up 2,800. So the Qs are on the highs here.
Yeah, like I said, all the indices are moving up together.
I mean, even UNH is up today. I mean, we're talking about it, right? I've said this last week. That I thought UNH was totally beaten up. Anything under 300 now, they're starting to feel better about that too as well. I do like that a lot. The Dixie dropping back below again, 99.05 here. That 99 handle, I know Steve Flanagan, and congratulations to his kid graduating. That's why he's here today. That he's been right. Oh, like Sweet Crude dropping here now. Okay. U.S. Trade Representative Greer now says there is constructive engagement with the EU on trade. That's good. Yeah. See, we want to see that, right?
Steve, I did see Airbus has overtaken Boeing as the largest airline producer in the world.
Okay, here's your answer to your question earlier that you asked me. Wells Fargo CEO now says the company will focus on growth in credit cards, investment banking, and that's it. So
yeah. He's still not touching crypto.
It does. It's interesting about crypto with Wells Fargo is that they will eventually, or they won't be a bank, right? People will just leave the bank because they're going to have to focus on that. But focusing on credit cards, does that help them focus on the digital banking side themselves? Does that mean that? I don't know the answer to that, but you would think that the answer would be yes. I mean, if they don't focus on it now, they might be in trouble because look at CoreWeave now after it ran it up. Took everybody out 152.66, and that's my fault. I should have been paying attention. The short there was laid up for us, and I did not pay attention. So that's on me. Dang.
Well, let's see. This is again. I didn't need to see it break below that 151 here. Otherwise,
if it does, I think it'll catch that low. If it does, then we might see a drop here to that gap. They're trying to push into the narrative. Yeah. There's 151, 17, 14, 16.
There it goes, 150. There you go.
Yeah,
it's trying.
150, 91, 150, 70, 151. So it's trying to get in the gap now. I had a feeling, and I wasn't paying attention. It's my fault. But if you shorted it out there, you're listening to us, congrats. I thought that was the key there. Okay, head of delegation for Russia-Ukraine talks. Medinsky now says Ukraine seeks a 30 to 60-day unconditional ceasefire. Amid Russia's Medinsky now tells Putin we will hand over 6,000 bodies of killed Ukrainian servicemen. It's getting worse and worse over there. They need to stop this nonsense.
Yeah, it definitely isn't good. Definitely is not good. Seeing PMI. Bad PMI out of the Eurozone here this morning now. So,
and you wonder why she has been cutting rates. It's pretty obvious. They knew it, right? They've got better data now. The EU is just paying attention, shall we say.
Yeah, they're not looking in the rearview mirror to drive the bus.
That's right. 150.60 now in CoreWeave. Congrats if you listened to us on that one.
It's turning down.
Path now 1287 now. When it got yesterday, I sold mine yesterday. It was too much of a run for me. I liked that run yesterday. Most of you know, if you're hanging around all day, I said it on live on a later show what I'd done. So, wow. They're also saying that they're going to return Ukrainian children too. Ouch. Russians captured children.
Yeah.
That should tell you everything about him. 105.3. Bitcoin still holding up here, Howard.
Yeah, nice.
Dang it, Howard. I don't like it when we agree. I like it better when we disagree on things. I like it. Let's go back. Find something to disagree on, my man.
CoreWeave. Although, no, I don't. I started that conversation with they're overblown.
Yeah.
What I will
Okay.
tell you though is my Applied Digital Corporation is up 17% now this morning. Don't ask me why, APLD, because I talked about them on the show. So there you go. They're
Yep.
up 17% right now. What just happened there? That came out of nowhere.
I think it was the Howard Hondo.
Yeah,
Greenberg
this is
effect.
I mean, look at this thing, 1226. It's just skyrocketing right now. APLD. See, don't get me mad, Steve.
Don't
Make
miss,
something go
don't
up
miss the show. You missed the show. You're gonna miss the train.
19.2% here. It's up 19.2%.
And what do we do different than everybody else? People always ask me that all the time, and they're like, outside, Steve, you know, look, the two of us have been in this world a long time of economics and politics and government, and the difference is we do it live here. We trade in front of you. We don't play around. We give you the straight deal. We don't try to pump someone's company or stock or whatever. We just tell you what it's at, and we're not looking for companies that, oh, look at the news and let's try to pump this stock. We'll try to catch it. That's not how you invest. You find companies like we did yesterday, right? With AI, with Path, UiPath. I found that. I did my homework. I used Quasar Markets, right? And I looked for AI companies that were undervalued and companies that, and I made a good play. Look at that, 149.76 now on CoreWeave.
Nice.
So that's my bad for missing it, but I want to make sure we got it here live for you guys. Had a feeling that was going to happen. So, and they're going to get right into that. They got right in that gap, and it went down. It went. So, for those of you who are listening to us, congrats. It's rug pulling time. That's what we call it. Yeah. All right.
So if you want to argue about Circle, I'm looking at their subscription here. 32 million shares, IPO $27 to $28. Company expected to have about 257 million total shares. $7.2 billion they would be worth, and the raise would be 880 million.
I wouldn't say it's oversubscribed. I would say they didn't issue enough shares, right? That's what I would say.
I mean, I think 7 billion is a fair. What is Coinbase worth?
It's probably worth about somewhere in the 200, right?
66 billion.
66 billion. Oh, wow. Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, keep in mind that one of the reasons Coinbase is worth that is because of their half ownership of Circle. You know, and the partnership there that's an interesting one. Like I said, Circle, number one, they came from the banking world.
Yeah.
Jeremy Allaire and his team came from the banking world. They have those connections to TradFi. While we do see banks that are going to start to try to run into the stablecoin business, I think we're going to see more partnerships with Circle to make stablecoins instead of building out the security and everything else that you need to do a stablecoin correctly. Transfer that liability over to a third party is something banks like to do, right? And using Circle as that, it'd be their way. I always thought Paxos was going to be the leader there, and they really fell off as they got into trouble in New York because of their connection to Binance. And Circle is just really grabbing that because Tether never is. Even with the connection to the White House through Cantor Fitzgerald, they still not even onshore in the U.S.
U.S. services PMI now coming out here. Global PMI, composite PMI, 53, expected a 52.1 there. May final service PMI 53.7 versus 52.3. So those numbers are a little bit stronger than expected there.
So Bank of Canada here also, they held their key rate at 275 here. So they are not raising their rate. They are staying at 275, but again, 275 versus where the U.S. is at currently, our Fed.
Yep.
Bank of Canada says we are focused on ensuring Canadians continue to have confidence in price stability. They're watching the extent to which the U.S. tariffs cut demand for exports, how quickly cost increases are passed on to the consumer prices, and how inflation expectations evolve. So another agency that says we're going to look at what happens and react to what we think is going to happen in the future, not to what we've seen in the past, right, Steve?
That is absolutely 100% correct. And that sucks because now we agree again.
We'll find plenty of things to argue about.
1.412% now. The 10-year still slipping here as bonds taking a big break here. This is interesting here.
And Steve, we can argue that your CoreWeave is back at 150, 150, so that short isn't working out yet.
I haven't done anything with it. I apologize. I wanted to do something with it, but I just can't pull the trigger, and that's okay. But sometimes,
Yeah. So, do you think this Bank of Canada not cutting gives Powell more strength to not cut next?
well, according to Powell, he says it's not political. It says it's not based on anything but what the United States data is. Okay,
Well, he's admitted that they talk, right? He has said that when asked, and CoreWeave 153.36 here. He has said that the central bankers, that he talks to Lagarde and he talks to these folks, and that they try to coordinate stuff.
Yes, but I don't think that Christine Lagarde is telling Powell what to do. I don't think that that's the case, right?
No, I don't think so.
Right. As my friend Jay Wood would say, we set policy, not them. But
Bank of Canada Governor Macklem says there was a clear consensus at this meeting to keep rates unchanged.
Yeah. Pretty quiet, considering all the stuff that's going on. It seems to be pretty quiet, Howard.
Well, volatility has been dropping in general across the market. Again, VIX at 1761. So, I mean, for Bitcoin, we've been stuck in a tight range. I'm surprised you haven't complained to me lately. We can't move from this 104 to 106 area. You can't even get a trade in. There's nothing there.
Yeah. Macklem says there was a clear consensus at this meeting to keep rates unchanged. Okay. There's a lot here to write, and I'm going to put this on the bottom. So Macklem, who is Canada's governor, I will post this in the banner, but at the bottom because it's so long. There we go. And then he gives his reasonings behind it, saying things like a need for a future rate cut if the economy weakens. I don't know what else Canada needs to see. They are,
Wow. You know what I haven't noticed? Berkshire continuing to decline here, Steve.
Yeah, I don't.
193.
I know you. Right now, Berkshire Hathaway seems to be a little bit much because of the amount of treasuries that they hold right now, and they're doing quite well with that. But
it's not the alpha that people want to see, right? It's not.
They're not getting what they want out of this one now. 150 now on. I think we break below 149 again. I think we hit another low again the other day. It's interesting on CoreWeave. I'm keeping my eye on it. It's right below my chart for Bitcoin. It's actually starting to look a little bit like a Bitcoin chart.
I can see that. I haven't looked at it. Well, that'd be tough because CoreWeave just made a 20% move up today.
I mean,
wait a second. What Bitcoin chart are you watching?
The 1 minute. I'm sorry, I should say 1 minute. Today's chart.
I'm like, man, I missed something here. I definitely missed something.
No, I mean the 1 minute. Today's 1 minute chart. Yeah.
No problem. I almost had a heart attack. I was like, I missed a 20% move up on Bitcoin would have elicited more of a comment by you and I believe. Yeah, Berkshire, man, it is. I'm normally a don't fade to Buffett, but man, it looks like it's could pull back down to all the way to the 200-day MA is where I wouldn't start looking at it till 480 here.
Yeah, but I don't think that's the case actually, because but I don't think Buffett's now really in control anymore. I think he's pretty much told you that he's not. Yeah,
I think you need to see the first move by the new guy, right? What's his name?
Greg Abel has already been running. 148.61. What I tell you is going to be the low.
There you go. There you go.
Damn, why can't I pull the trigger today on core wheel? It's just too much today. Why can't I pull the trigger? And that's a good example of it. Why it's okay to make these, you know it, but you don't.
It keeps bouncing back, Steve. 151.28.
That's what I'm saying. I
what's the volume right now on this? 11 million shares, Steve. Trading hand volume.
Yeah,
11 million.
Wow. It's a lot when the average volume is 22, right? It's a lot.
In the first 22 minutes of the trading day.
And let's put that in perspective. If you take 11 million, right? And for those of you who don't know how this works, 11 million, multiply that by, in this case, 151.35, right? That's $1.7 billion, $1.664 billion have moved and traded hands in this stock in the last, I guess in the last 38 minutes, right? That is just nuts on this kind of company. So, on a company, so just think about that. $1.7 billion on a $73 billion company.
Yeah, that's insane. I'm just looking even at volume. You get your calculator there. What's Netflix? 1,200 times 231,000.
Yeah, so multiply the two, you'll get the trading volume, actual dollar volume there for yourselves. But that's just crazy. That tells you that options are being employed here. That tells you that this is a FOMO stock. That tells you all of those things. So
you look at it, just you're looking at like Amazon's volume 3.28 million versus an average volume of 42. Just to give you references on what everything else is doing today. Everything else is in line. The Mag 7, Apple 6 million out of 51 million normal. Nvidia 27 million out of 218 million. So like 1/10, and we're about 1/10 of the way through our day. CoreWeave, that's just an insane amount of trading. You know who's making money? Robinhood today.
Yes, any of the brokerages, IBKR, they're making money off of it. Correct.
Yeah. I mean, that's just nuts. That volume. Wow. CrowdStrike does look like it's starting to maybe find a floor here. Not really, a little bit, not really. Albemarle taking off, Steve, up 4.58%. Didn't see that. Did they have earnings? No. Wow, nice jump by Albemarle.
Really? 155.20 now on CoreWeave, and Bitcoin dropping. So maybe my thesis there was a little bit wrong. Oh wait,
I don't think it necessarily is. I think that we see that in general, that the tech stocks, if you look at the Qs and Bitcoin a lot of times, and more to the alts than Bitcoin, trade very much in tandem.
Yeah. Where are we with the UiPath? Are we getting, or should we give, $12.99 holding that study at $13? You still on those $13 calls?
I have one half of them left, so I took profit at like 30% profit.
See, that's what I'm saying. I'll tell you one stock that we've not talked about, and its big day is tomorrow, and that's Nintendo, NTDOY. As everybody knows, their new machine comes out, and I might get one. I don't know. Who knows?
You will.
But I understand that they already have a day one patch that you can't even play the machine until you get the patch on. So, oh wow, U.S. is said to refuse air cover for Europe force in post-war Ukraine. Oof,
that's not nice.
Isn't that our job to protect the world?
That's part of it. Yeah, I mean, wow.
Meta's still pushing here, it looks like. Yeah,
that's not good.
I'm seeing where the 205 calls for June the 6th are flying on CoreWeave. Is that right? I pulled it up. I don't have my options up right now.
Get an option chain up for CoreWeave, and then we're looking at what?
So look at the 205s for June the 6th, which is literally Friday in the week.
Oh, actually, no, it's not coming up for me.
Okay.
I don't know why. On TradingView, which is TradeStation, it doesn't come up. I can look at it here. Hold on one second.
I mean,
Do you think that's somebody covering their short, maybe, Steve? One of the institutions?
Could be, yeah.
154.81, 155. Wow.
Yeah. Well, it's only up 3% today, and we're not at the highs today. The high of the day was 158.
Yeah. So when you said what number?
205s.
205, Steve. What do you think this week's 205 is trading at?
I don't have it in front of no.
$51.
What?
$51. Oh, that's a put. Never mind. Jesus.
I was getting ready to say maybe the puts are that
83
high.
cents. 83 cents.
Yeah.
So this is someone just taking. These are YOLOs probably.
Right.
Although, how many did you say?
That's what I'm saying. I think that's what's happening right here. I don't think this is real buying. I think this is YOLOing, and I think people are going to just lose their money here.
Yeah, because what happened is someone got this right today, or yesterday, where they played a similar YOLO. So now they're just going to keep banking in. This is like watching people leverage into Bitcoin on a run.
Right.
It doesn't end well. It does not end well. I am with Steve. This will not end well for many. If you made your money, get out.
We just talked about this yesterday. Ford CFO now says rare earth supplies continue to be an issue.
Yeah, that's been all over Wall Street Journal and some stuff. I sort of had that, and when you and I started yelling at each other, I forgot about it.
What? We're not yelling at each other.
And I mean, China's made it very clear that they're going to cut this off, and it's a problem. And it's not just a problem for EV companies; it's a problem for regular companies, catalytic converters, right?
Yeah, we talked about this last year. I mean, I gave a course for those of you who would like. I'm happy to do this too. Molybdenum is one of those. Ron Williams talking about SOX now coming up. That's the semiconductors ETF. I mean, if you don't like your big screen, if you like a big screen TV, you better get one now, because if we have a rare earth issue, big screen TVs will probably go through the roof on costs. Right now, go down to your local Sam's Club, you can buy them, but the prices are going up on tariffs already, and as well as these rare earths, because this is an issue, right? So it could get very, very could get worse. Yeah, and Ford CFO is talking right now. That's why it's like coming again. Wow, we need these things now. Do we have them in the United States? Yes. Does it cost us a lot to dig them up? Yes. Nevada is a very good explanation of that. Utah is another state that has these rare earths under these mountains. But we don't like destroying our mountains. Let them destroy their mountains for the rare earths, right? Let them destroy their earth to get the rare earth. Look at this, back 152.60 now.
We're getting hurt here on that news. 1027. I will say, I mentioned Ford 2 days ago, right? I liked it bouncing off of that 200-day MA.
ISM non-manufacturing employment now coming in for the month of May, now coming in at 50.7. The previous reading there was 49. So manufacturing employment pushing up slightly. I think that's what Trump wants to see, right?
It is.
151.81 now on CoreWeave. Still,
and New York Fed come through too. New York Fed survey: most firms pass through to customers at least some of tariffs. 3/4 of factory firms, services firms passed on some amount of tariffs. Switching to domestic sources have blunted some of the tariff increase. So
that is true. For those of you who don't know, I am on that list too. That they ask questions of us. I'm on the Atlanta one too as well. I get those questions and answers, and all the time. I'm the one that people always ask. Where do these numbers come from? They come from people like myself, right? That fill those forms out for them and help them. And when they make phone calls to me once a month to ask me what my thoughts are on these things, and we give them their thoughts. 104.5 now on Bitcoin, still slipping here. On Bitcoin, are you thinking this selling is a little overcooked here?
No, I needed to get down to 102 for me.
Okay.
I'm looking for it at that 102 level.
Well, I've got some cash in the sidelines ready to go back into Bitcoin. I just haven't done it yet. Jim Cramer now tweeting, "Congratulations, Charlie Scharf, the CEO of Wells Fargo, on the cap lift."
Oh God, that should send that going the wrong way.
Yeah, should we watch WFC now? I think Jim gets a bad rap. I think he's a very smart guy, and I think he's well loved. Yes, so I think people give him a bad rap. Make some bad calls sometimes, but we all do. Heck, I made one this morning, so I totally understand. And I made one on Nvidia not too long ago, right?
Yeah.
But I pulled it out and look at Nvidia, where we ended up. So I'm liking this. Yeah. Yeah, that sell off in Bitcoin pushing right back up a little bit.
ISM services only came in at 49.9 though, expected 52.
Yeah. So it's under 50, which was the breaking point, right? That's the midpoint. That's not a good. And we are a services country, as you know, Howard. And this is really bad. This is bad news. Non-manufacturing PMI. So this should give some firepower to the ability of cutting rates. Now, the problem with cutting rates now is what? That bad news is bad news and good news is good news. We flipped the switch now, right? Good news and lowering rates is good to pump the economy, but as bad news comes in, that's not good. So I hope everybody understands what I'm saying. That 150.56 now getting close to the lows of the day again on CoreWeave. It just cannot hold up there. So I don't know what's gonna. I think CoreWeave will end up under the 148.36 at some. Yeah, we're on the way down there now. And CNBC now talking about the New York Fed. See if we get it here faster than anybody, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, it's 10 o'clock, and I need to run.
Same thing with me, sir. Thank you for watching us. I will be back at 12 o'clock with Agnieszka Wood. We'll talk trading mindset, get you guys in the right frame of mind to trade. And then tomorrow morning, Steve and I can argue whether CoreWeave has a place in the Mag 7 or not yet.
Come on.
Have a great day, Steve. I'll talk to you later.
Later, brother.